Welcome back. Each month, bariatrician Dr. Julie Swindler from Medical Bariatrics of Lexington joins us to offer advice in the battle of the bulge, things you may not realize could be hindering your weight loss efforts or could help you lose weight. And today, she's actually responding to a question that a viewer submitted on our website, and we encourage you to do that. Just as we told you our last half hour on our Doctor on Call segment, there is a page under the Health tab. Just click Doctor on Call. You'll see Julie's picture and also our other Doctor on Call, Dr. Stanton, and you can ask your questions, and we'll try to cover them in future segments. Well, this question that came in says, I was watching Dr. Oz, yay for that, we're glad you are, and talked about obesogens. Are there really foods that make you more likely to get fat? I thought it was based on calories. This is an interesting question. You have some answers for us.
Well, yes, thank you, by the way, for having me again. And I'm so glad the viewers are getting involved in asking these questions, and I encourage them to do so because we're happy to answer them. But, you know, it is a lot more than just calories in and calories out. Just like our last segment, we talked about there are certain foods out there that could potentially interfere with certain organs in your body, the goitrogens, if you remember me talking about those. There are also, though, foods where we as human beings have made them worse, and now that they interfere. And they're called obesogenics. And there's different ones out there, but it comes from, we hear over and over about how it's not good that we're treating our foods with so many different pesticides and chemicals and injecting them with hormones and everything else. So we're going to talk about that, and there's easy little ways around that. For example, let's talk about the meats. There's a big difference between organic meat and non-organic meat, like organic chicken and not. Same thing with, is it a regular fed beef, or is it one that's steroid injected or hormone injected? I mean, if you think about it, they inject them with these hormones to make the animals fatter, right? So what happens when we eat that stuff? Doesn't it make sense then that it would cause detrimental effects on us as human beings? And it's true. And sometimes you can't see the difference very well, but sometimes, boy, you can. Here, for example, is an example of like an organic chicken and one that's not. Now, this one does have skin and other things too, but it's an example of I'm just changing chicken for chicken. It's just where I'm getting it from. Same thing with the beef. On average, they estimate that they inject about 6 different hormones or more on regular fed beef. So if you go with the grass-fed, it's better. And you can get it from all kinds of places. People argue, well, it's more expensive. You can order them online. You can get it from your local farmer's market. And then again, if anything else, you got to ask, what's my health worth? And if it helps me to stay at a normal weight, I'm going to be saving myself a lot of money in the end. Same thing with fruits and veggies. The ones you got to watch for are the ones that have permeable skin, where it could potentially soak up these pesticides more. So whereas an orange might not be as big of a problem because you can just peel that away, things like strawberries can be. So for example, this is a strawberry that is not organic, just your traditional strawberry. Switching it over to like an organic strawberry, or in this case an organic raspberry, doesn't have all those pesticides, helps things out as well too. And then finally, you got to think about what are they being packaged in. We hear people talk about BPA all the time, and now it has been linked to some cancer effects and linking to heart disease and everything else. But it's in the packaging of materials. A lot of times, some of the plastics and even canned foods, even though we say, hey, well, that's metal, that's not plastic, it's lined with plastic on the inside in a lot of cases. So choosing some of the fresher ones that don't have that, and even then going so far as making sure that they're not having the pesticides, is going to make you a lot healthier and decrease the risk of it causing obesity in us as well too.
And I did notice just from Dr. Oz's segment, some of the material on his website was mentioning, especially with meats, if you get them from a butcher or you get them from the deli counter and have them wrap it in paper instead of the plastic wrap, that kind of cuts down on that exposure from the plastics as well.
Same thing. You know, and the list goes on and on. I think at one time Dr. Oz talked to you about the high fructose corn syrup, and that definitely is another one that falls in that classification where it's something that we've produced, it's a bit unnatural, and it can be linked to an increase in obesity, and it actually triggers ghrelin in our body, which is a neurotransmitter that stimulates hunger, so it makes us more hungry, and we tend to eat more of that. So it's this vicious little cycle. I've had patients where I've been able to just have them switch from some food that they were eating to equal food, but without those elements in it, and they were able to lose weight very well just with that simple switch.
Wow. So not necessarily switching out what you eat, just different versions.
Yeah, and where you get it from.
Well, thank you so much for great advice as always, and always interesting to hear some of the things you may not figure are affecting your weight. We'll be right back with one last check of your forecast.